Thank you, Claudia. I'm super excited to be here, and thank you so much for joining us and taking time out of your day to come and hear about my art process. I'm super excited to share it with you. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up some artworks and slides to show you. I got my BFA from Massachusetts College of Art and Design, or Mass Art, in 2017, and that's in Boston. This is a photograph I took. I put it here because I wanted to kind of start by talking about how I've always been interested in light and refraction and diffraction and all the things, the interesting things that happen with light as they kind of bounce around, and especially with water, or like, clear plastic prisms, or the lenses of cameras. Just, I've always thought it was fascinating to think about how that works and the science behind it. I'm actually from the West. Here's a picture of the drive when you're leaving Cache Valley, which is where I grew up in Utah. And I started my schooling in Colorado, and I was primarily interested in drawing and painting. But as I kind of grew, I transferred at a certain point, and I wanted to explore more. So I transferred to Mass Art in Boston, and I continued to work on drawing and kind of started to incorporate some collage work here. This is a drawing of the view from my back porch in Boston in Jamaica Plain. And I used some newsprint, and this was maybe the first time I started using this kind of collage method that I still use now, and that's become a really prominent part of my work. So that's why I included that one. And I became interested in collage as a whole concept. So this is a digital collage, and I just thought it was fascinating to combine like a digital file with drawn, like, scan. So this figure is a drawing that I scanned in and combined it with like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different photographs. I made this my freshman year's an exploration project. And then this piece kind of, for me, marks really getting into the work that I'm doing now. And for me, it's about the self, and especially like as a female, as a person that identifies as she in this culture, and the body image concept, and how you view yourself and your relationship to yourself. That was kind of the driving impulse behind this one. You can see a lot of different magazines, newspapers, all kinds of different print materials. And this is when I started my hoarding obsession. Now I have so much stuff that I collect to use for this stuff. It's hard to whittle it down. I have so much now. But in the background here, there's some watercolor and some oil pastel. So that was my freshman year, and then I chose my major to be SIM, which is Studio for Interrelated Media, and it's a really fascinating program. It is, like it says here, idea-centered, interdisciplinary, and non-media specific. They always stress to us the importance of the idea or concept of an art piece before what you're going to make it out of. So thinking, what is this about, and what is the purpose of it? What am I trying to say, before you say, what am I going to use to make it? And that really changed everything for me. And I started exploring a lot of different mediums. It was also really important in that program that you kind of do things yourself. There was no grades, there were no rules about, there were productivity, standards, like you wanted to make a certain number of works per semester, but it was pretty self-governed. And I think it was really good for me, because if I wanted to make something happen, I had the resources to do it, and I just had to go ahead and make it happen. It's really good practice for being an artist outside of a college setting. So this was one of my first explorations in event planning. I made this poster, and we had an event in the courtyard of Mass Art. We had a bunch of different musical and sound art acts, and then we had a gallery inside with a lot of artwork presented as well. Kind of realized that event planning wasn't my favorite, but it was a really nice experience to see if I was interested. Did a lot of performance work. This one was in our Posen Center, which was that big room here. And we had access to all kinds of lighting equipment, staging equipment, and more. We had people that would document our work for us, and we all worked really collaboratively together. So that was a really exciting time in my life. And then I also got really interested in Buto. So Buto is a Japanese avant-garde performance art that was first created or started by some Japanese artists right after World War II. And it was started in response to World War II and the feeling that Japanese culture had after being kind of crushed in that war. And my teacher studied with one of the original founders of Buto, and so it was really cool to learn from her. And its performance is not really a part of my life right now, though I do yoga a lot, and I feel that yoga is really similar to Buto, in that your teacher is kind of part of your lineage, and you learn from your teacher, and it's all part of the art gets sort of passed down. This is a piece that we did in Cambridge as a group, and it was called Tree. It was all inspired by trees and the way that trees grow, and we were really trying to experience the world, and it was a really magical experience. We also just kind of used some of the traditional the traditions of Buto, which what the white paint is. We would paint the whole body white. And that's a tradition of Buto. And then I also got into printmaking, and printmaking was amazing because Mass Art had a really extensive printmaking studio, so it was really great just to get to work there. This is a screen print I made right after Trump was elected, and did some mono printing before really getting interested with photography and the combination of photography and printmaking, and just thinking about the layering of all the colors and really breaking down the printing process, because previous to that it was just, you print it out on a color printer and that's it. And I always loved the process of breaking down those processes, like what are the parts of those really complex things that we kind of take for granted nowadays. And that one is based on like a screen test. So like those old school screen tests that would pop up on your TV to test the colors. So I did the CMYK, but I split it up. This one has all four of the colors, the cyan, magenta, yellow, and black. And then I just did some different combinations. And this is a photo of me in the mountains in Colorado. And my sisters and I made this project where we found an old television antennae, and we were putting it behind our head as kind of a performative piece about, I would say it was about like meditation and communing with either other people or communing with the world, I guess, other people. And then this was kind of getting into the real meat of what I did in art school and what it culminated in. I got really fascinated with using Mylar, which is the same stuff you use for like a balloon, a reflective mylar balloon. And it's used for making mirrors too. When the glass is poured over mylar, it makes a mirror. So I was using this mylar and I made this little box and I would place in different, all different kinds of spots and use it to abstract the space and explore the perception of space. This is one of the most successful images I made using this technique. It's on black and white film. That's when I really started getting into film photography, and that is still with me. I absolutely love film photography. This image was really fun. So my grandfather lives in Arizona, and I went to visit him in Sedona, and they have these like energy vortexes where they say that in the rocks there's like a psychic energy vortex, and who knows if it's real. I mean, I actually really believe it, because after I took these photos, it was just like a work of pure, it was just remarkable what happened. So I treated these rolls of film with lemon juice as an experimental method, and yeah, it was just lemon juice, let them dry a little bit in the sun. They were all dry when I went to load them in the camera. And when I took the photos, you can see that the the emulsion has kind of shifted around. And I just loved the way that it played with the patterns in the rocks and how they're kind of emulating the patterns in the emulsion. It just felt like a really, really great coincidence. And if anyone wants to ask anything at any time, please feel free to. Just want to say that. This is another photo I took with my sister. My sisters are great companions for photography projects. And this piece is also, it's about perception. It's about playing with the eye and playing with our vision. And I was inspired by artists like James Turrell and Robert Irwin, who were exploring. I read one of their books and they were just exploring, like those, what was it called? Sensory deprivation tank. You know, that sensory deprivation tank where you go and you can't see, you can't hear. And I think they even have you like lay in water in some of them, or you're kind of just sitting. So it's really cutting off all the senses. And then when you come out, it's like overwhelming because you didn't realize that you constantly are able to see, and we take our vision for granted so much that through my art, I wanted to make people, give people a chance to like become aware of just like the miracle of vision, the miracle that we can't even see. And our eyes are so complex in the way that they interact with our brain. It's truly a miracle that we can see.
That's awesome, Jessie. Very cool.
Well, thank you. Thank you. And this is a calotype photo. So I took a class on alternative photography techniques, and this is an old school method where you mix the chemicals, you paint it on, and then you expose it. We had like a light bed you would expose it in. You had to print the negative larger, so we'd take the digital photo. I combined several photos here, I think just two, then printed the negative and exposed it. And then I made a film. So my senior thesis was a film called Self-Conscious. It was all about what I was discussing earlier, the female's relationship to her own body, and in our, the twisted things that happen in our minds when we're perceiving ourselves. And I had a lot of classmates that were interested in performance art who wanted to collaborate. So I've got the trailer here. I'm just gonna kind of let it play, talk a little bit about it. I might jump around a bit. But it was all about the perception of yourself. Just gonna cut through here. So I used the Mylar box. I made a Mylar room that you could sit inside, and then um, shot a few different ways. This was really fun for me. It was definitely like the most exciting project I've ever done. Involved, I was busy shooting film like every weekend for a couple of months, and then the editing took forever, and it was all shot on 16 millimeter film. So it was pretty intense. It was stressful because with film, you never know if it's going to come out the way you planned. And then I did do some digital editing later on, but yeah. Right.
Well, that's deep, Jessie.
Thank you. If anyone has anything to add, feel free. Here's another one of my sister, and she's got those antennae. It's a calotype photo. And I really enjoyed calotypes. We were able to do cyanotypes with the kids a few weeks ago here at Portside, and it was really, really fun. I just love photography.
Oh,
Here I was combining film with drawing illustration. So I found this TV and I had this image in my mind. I had some friends that had a band called the Televibes, and I made this kind of inspired by their music and their band and everything. So I found this TV and I was trying to get it to smash it, and I couldn't. I tried with like a bat. You couldn't hit it. You couldn't smash it. It was so solid, the glass. I even dropped it off of my back porch, one story down, because we had an empty lot. It still didn't break. So I was like, all right, well, I'll just draw it broken and then I'll juxtapose it over the photo. So this is a film photo back behind my house, an empty lot, and then added the illustration over the top. And
Jessie, that image that you just showed was chosen as the poster for the show that it was in as well.
oh yeah, it showed in a show in Steamboat where my mom lives. This is my mom, Beth.
Yeah, and it was cool that that image was chosen for the poster for the whole show. I
wow.
thought.
Don't
Yeah,
be so modest, Jessie.
yeah, exactly. You need your mom to point these things out.
Jessie, how did you do the on the wall? How did you do that distortion on the wall?
So it's a drawing, and then I just kind of put it over the film photo in Photoshop, and I used one of those like blend modes to get it to sort of blend in. Was that your question?
Cool. It's so cool.
Thank you. Thanks. Then I started making these little tiny drawings. This one's only like 6 inches by 6 inches. And this is pen and colored pencil. And I have another one here.
Cool.
And these were kind of inspired by technology and thinking about all the screens that we look at. And I was also inspired by like a 70s mod aesthetic and the color schemes of those things. This one's more of like a Powerpuff Girls color
Is that
scheme.
all done by hand, Jessie, or is that computer generated?
Yeah, that's all done by hand.
Wow.
Yeah, and I'll have some prints of these available at the First Fridays. So it'll be fun.
Yeah, you have to make a note of that somewhere so people understand. You know, both forms are very difficult, but this is, you know, I know more personal than in my opinion, than like, you know, popping something on the screen and just like grabbing squares and sticking them together. But that's really, really beautiful. And you can look at this, like, I love when people do art and you can look at it for hours and then go back again and look at it for another hour and still see something different, which is really cool. Like you can see all different, you know, I'm looking at it right now and there's just so much to look at it. And it's really cool for someone who even wants to like meditate and look at that and just try and like clear their mind and just relax and just like, oh, I didn't see that piece before. And It's really beautiful. Very, very nice.
Thanks. Yeah, I always try
I
to make,
agree. I agree. I love these, and I think that they do make me think about the mind and like it's like a picture into your mind, kind of.
hmm,
Yeah, we have a kid. We had some students, and some of their art was not similar to this, but along, like you would just see like all like they would draw a beautiful painting or beautiful picture, and then their minds just couldn't stop, and then they just had to just keep adding to it and adding to it. Oh, here's one right here. Not comparing that to your art, Jessie, but there's so much going on. That's
mhm.
really, really cool that you just can look at it and see like almost like what you were thinking when you were doing the art, or what the child was thinking when they couldn't stop, and yeah,
Yeah.
it's really, really beautiful. I agree with Beth.
Yeah, I always want it to be, I mean, if I want to make things that are valuable, so I always feel like there should be a lot of time that goes in and a lot of effort and just layers. There's, something there that people can
I love
find.
that.
Yeah.
A
And
lot of people don't put the effort in,
not
and
too
you really,
easy.
you can
Yeah.
really see it. It's so obvious, even though it's so small. The effort is just hours and hours. I can see that you put into it. Long time.
Yeah.
And people want that when they buy something. They want that investment. Like, she didn't just chuck a mess of stuff on a piece of paper or wood or anything, but the time and effort. It's just really, really cool. Beautiful.
Thank you. And then that's what inspired me to start making these bigger, but the same kind of concept with these rectangles and squares. This one is behind Claudia. It's in the gallery at Cherry Street. And similarly, I had a vision in my head ahead of time, but I also just went with it and based on the materials I had available and what was kind of calling out to be to place together. And a lot of it is about color and how the colors are combining and how they layer over each other, and
So is collage on top of what type of medium?
acrylic on canvas. Hmm. Yep.
I see you're able to get different tones with your acrylics, which is really nice. Reminds me of the wash. How you can like
Yeah.
add water and subtract water to make the a red, like 10 different types of shades. And I noticed that
Yeah.
with yours. It's really cool. It looks like I see when I'm looking at it, my interpretation, I'm seeing band-aids too.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. Yeah, totally. Now that you say that.
Yeah, because we have all these crazy band-aids for the kids, and they all have
Yeah.
different things on. I'm like, oh, that looks like the band-aid I put on so and so last week. It's really cool.
That's funny. Yeah, and I also have some little like mylar details that sort of change based on your perspective when you're looking at the original. It's kind of fun. I have these in my house, and we always notice how based on the time of day they look different because of the light reflective pieces and based on the lighting. This one and this one, oops, these two had collage stuff on them, but I made these sort of digital interpretations where I went over some of them with just a blank color. And I really liked how it kind of made the painting pop a little bit with these really sharp digital lines. And I like the juxtaposition of the totally flat color with the like organic hand painted color.
Yeah, it kind of gave it like more depth or like dimensionality, having the different textures really.
Mm. And
Beautiful.
these
Jessie.
ones I also have available as prints, and they'll be there. They're 8x10, so they're easy to frame.
Very
And this one-
happy.
What?
You're very happy.
They're very happy. Yeah. Yeah. And this one has some like copper leaf in it that also changes with the light.
So
And
you
this
said,
one,
excuse me, Jess, you said digital type line. So I know you're talking about like rectified, like straight, perfect lines with paint. Now, was this done by hand or digitally?
so it's a painting that was made by hand, and it has collage elements in it.
Okay.
But then this is sort of a different version that has digital elements. So I did like digital drawing on it.
Okay.
So like, for instance, this one right here was a picture of something, and I just painted over it with this color in Photoshop.
Okay. So then you photoshopped it, then you printed it, cut it out, and then placed it onto your art.
No, I just took a picture of the original with the collage on it,
Okay.
and then just brought that into Photoshop. And I actually use it on my iPad. I have one of those little pencils, those graphic.
Oh, okay.
It's like it's called an Apple Pencil, and I
Yeah,
was
yeah.
able to draw and change the colors of these and just make them one color, because if someone requested this piece, they requested the same piece but without the collage. I think it was a little too busy for them. And so I made this as a markup, but I really just like it how it is. So now I print this one out, and I like it as a print.
It's ready to go.
Yeah, and you'll see that
It's ready to go to the playground.
on Friday. And this one was also inspired by Colorado, of course, you can tell. The landscape, just the energy and the feeling of the nature there, and used obviously a lot of different found material, a lot of different ripped pieces, cut pieces, and the stars are silver and copper leaf, and this circle around the edge and this straight piece are made of mylar, so they're really shiny and they're fun to look at from different angles.
Did you sell that one, Jessie? Or do you still have it?
I still have it. It's with my mom in Colorado. She's
okay.
metalsmith, so she had it available in her shop. So
Oh, you're a metalsmith.
Like Jess's mom.
Very cool.
Yeah, thank you.
yeah,
What kind of stuff do you make?
All sorts of stuff. I'm kind of experimental like Jessie is. I'm always trying something new. But mostly wearable jewelry, bracelets, earrings, necklaces, but I change from all different materials and stones and techniques, and like Jessie does. Move
Yeah.
I
around.
wear a lot of it, so I'll have to point it out when I'm wearing some of her stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
send us some pictures, and we'd be very happy to put your stuff on our website since you're part of the Portside family.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely send us some pieces, and then we'll definitely put it on our store. Claudia is in charge of the store, and she can put the your art up on our store.
Awesome. Thank you. That'd be cool.
So I'm still really interested in photography, and I still shoot a lot of film. It's my hobby, and it's also, I think it's still part of my art career. I like using experimental techniques. This was taken on a plastic camera, 120 film plastic camera, and it's kind of a double exposure. So I just love playing with it. You never know what you're gonna find. And this was an illustration. Well, it was a drawing I made when I was in India. I went to do my yoga teacher training 2019 in August, the whole month of August. And this was the view from the place where we did yoga. I just thought it was so amazing. I wanted to capture it, not just in a picture, but I wanted to capture it by hand. So I used some ink washes and some pen. And I just want to say I really love drawing with ink and pen and pencil, because it I feel this lineage with my grandmother, my Nana, and she was also an artist, and she would draw just landscapes and stuff with the same materials. So I always want to keep doing that to retain that sort of lineage. And this one is one of my largest works I've ever made. Made this as a commission, and it is artichokes. They're artichokes on a Ferris wheel, and it took me a really long
request
time.
that?
What?
Did somebody actually request artichokes on a Ferris wheel?
Yeah.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. And he had a really, really clear vision of what he wanted. And
What's the novel in the background? What novel did you use?
This one's actually not a novel. It's a whole bunch of different things. Newspaper. I collected a lot of newspapers in Boston, and some of them were like art newspapers that had really cool like illustrations in them, all kinds of different stuff. If you see it in person, you can go look up close and see. Some of it is pictures. One of them I think was a postcard. Yeah. And then down in the bottom, with all the organic material, it's a lot of this like natural paper that you can see the leaves in it. It's like, I'm sure you've seen it at an art store. They have like, you can see the leaves in it. And the actual Ferris wheel is made of mylar again, which is painted mylar. And then just a few more of my more recent pieces. This one was inspired by Georgia O'Keeffe, and the way she would always have these flowers just like pop up in the sky. Specifically that one with the cow skulls. I don't know if yeah, Claudia, you saw that. And this one, I had no idea what I was going to make when I started it. It just I just went with it, and at first I had no idea that I was going to put a person, and then I created this person out of collage, and it's kind of paper mache like the way I use it in this scenario, where I just use all these little ripped up strips and I just get them all kind of wet and gluey, and then it's almost sculptural. Yeah.
Beautiful.
And here's my last one. This one I'm currently working on.
I like that one.
Yeah, this one's still in
My
progress.
favorite.
Gorgeous.
I think I might be able to have it finished by Friday, because there's just a couple little finishing touches. I have a few more trees that are really up close. They're going to be layered like right here, and I don't know, somewhere over here. So yeah, stay tuned. And if anyone has any questions, feel free to ask.
Yeah, point out
Jessie.
showing the kids. Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
If you can point out here, like on the tree trunks to the left of the painting, I noticed that when I saw it up close, it's actually pencil. So Jessie did a really cool job with the pencil, and also on some of the birch trees, there's also like pencils to make the branches and the trunks to look more realistic. You did a beautiful job, Jessie. And then also to point out, some of these leaves are collaged also with yellow, green tissue paper, and it's a beautiful piece. And then also she has the horses up in the clouds coming out. And this is one of your pictures that are really cool too, because you just keep looking at it, and just even the kids, we had the kids over there, 16 kids. And as you know, as we were looking at this painting, they weren't saying a word. They were really interested in noticing, like, it's almost like a search and find, where you're like, the more you look at it, the more really cool things and techniques and effort you see that was put into this piece. It's beautiful.
Thanks, Kim.
You're welcome.
Yeah, these are they're actually aspen trees, and it's inspired by
aspen?
aspen. I mean, they could be birch trees. I mean, it's not like a specific rule, but I did make it inspired by the landscape in like Idaho. This is going to be actually a gift to my grandfather, who helped me. He helped me get through school, and so I wanted to make him something really special. And he's from Idaho, so I kind of made this Idaho landscape for him.
Wow, you have family all over.
Yeah, they spread out. I've got Wyoming, Arizona, Colorado, Utah, California.
So you have a grandpa in Arizona, and then you have a grandpa in Colorado who you're visiting this weekend, right?
Well, I am going to Colorado, but yeah, that grandfather actually lives in Salt Lake.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
He's like a big Mormon guy, big Utah Mormon guy.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep. So, yeah, we do spread out, right, Mom?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Take photos for Claudia to draw. She likes that style.
Yeah, Claudia's really interested in Colorado. She used to live there. Where did
I
you
think
go?
we're both inspired by the West and by Colorado. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Hopefully you can get some inspiration on your upcoming trip.
Yes.
Take a bunch of paintings when you get back.
Yeah.
It's really cool. I never knew how interdisciplinary your work was. I've never seen your photography or your video. I love your photographs. They're beautiful.
Thanks.
Do you have any that you can bring to the studio?
I actually am framing one, and I'm gonna put it on that back wall.
Ooh, I'm so excited to see it.
That one that I showed with the rocks and the film emulsion.
Yes,
Yeah,
I really like that one.
I'm bringing a picture of that one.
The one with the lemon?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Cool. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we keep on mentioning the
Claudia.
what?
I'm pushing on your face. So I'm going to butt into also with this painting. Now, what was the novel that you used to do the collage with?
Oh yeah, the background of the sky was used with pages of Don Quixote and Gulliver's Travels.
That's so cool.
Awesome. Your
There's so
grandpa's
much
gonna love
practice.
that, Jesse.
Yes, he
Yeah.
is.
When you advertise them, remember, put all those different things in there, because anybody that's searching for something like that, they'll, even Don Quixote, you know, it's a beautiful piece.
It's true,
thank
and
you,
and
Grandpa.
I agree that I think that the depth of your work and the amount of energy you put into it, you know, it's really courageous. Like, and you're not just, you don't stop short. You just like keep going and going with your ideas, which is, I think, really lovely.
Thanks.
Beautiful, Miss Jessie.
Hey, Jesse,
you.
one other thing, I wonder if everyone, if you could provide the link to your full video that you produced. Maybe everyone would like to see it. I loved seeing the teaser again, but maybe showing the whole thing would be cool.
Yeah. Let's see if we can find it real quick.
Claudia, maybe you can put that when you do the artist at lunch on the website. Perhaps you can put that link in her description.
Yeah.
Sure.
That's perfect.
Thank you, Beth.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for doing this. It was really cool. It was really neat for me to go back and see all your work from the beginning to presented like this. Really
Yeah,
neat.
it's great because we work together all the time, but we're so busy here. It really kind of stinks because we don't really, the only time we get to know like personally about people, about our teachers, is like if we go have like an adult hour or something like that. And with the COVID, it's been so difficult. And it was really nice to see Jessie's work and in the gallery. And that was also, we got to see Maria, learn more about her and what makes her tick. So it's really, I really think we need to have more, more meetups with the girls and
Yeah, definitely now that COVID's like in
yeah.
hopefully we can.
Yeah, because even the kids, I mean, the kids like to know, like to take you more seriously too. Remember when you showed them their art, they've been very impressed.
Yeah, it was neat for them to be
initially, then plus like, wow, Miss Jessie did that, and they're like, whoa, because it's good for them to know that you're not just some chick there talking to them, talking to them about art. Like you're an actual artist, which really makes the port side stand out because our teachers are teaching artists. Just like a teaching hospital. I'll compare that. Usually they're really, really cool. And here at the port side, we're able to get so many different artists from so many different backgrounds and techniques and mediums. And the kids here are so lucky to take advantage of all everybody's different type of arts and training. And it's really
and it's so great that Kim, that you allow us as teachers to really teach what we want to teach. We have so much freedom with making our lessons and everything. It's really great.
Yeah, that's what we want. We want you guys, we consider ourselves like a stepping stone for people to step on us a little bit and then get some experience. And then a lot of times you like go into the school like, oh my God, no, where's my portside kids? Because our kids are so good. It's difficult going out into another school and do that. And I have some really cool opportunities too. I just got a nice phone call. But yeah, you're amazing, Jessie. Hats off to you, man. You're really cool. And I'm happy that you're in the gallery right now, and I'm proud that you're one of our teachers. And
thank you so much, and I really appreciate the opportunity to do this artist talk.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, thank you, Jessie. And
Yes.
for those of you who are in Philadelphia or in the area, come visit Cherry Street Pier. We're in studio number 5 this Friday. It's first Friday from 4 to 9.
Yes.
Awesome.
We will be here.
Yeah,
all right. Well, thank you so much, Jessie.
Bye. Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Awesome. Nice to meet you, Beth.
Nice to meet